business has been hard in that it's been an emotional journey, right? I'm not an emotional person. I'm really not, which is why like people who know me would look at this and be like, wow, Lonnie's crying, but it's because it matters so much. And so even for someone who, is not
Hmm.
so easily like brought to tears, it is a journey that does this, that is
Oh my
very
God,
difficult to
yes.
navigate.
Welcome to Mindset Mastery with Julissa Edwards, the podcast dedicated to helping high performers unlock their true potential and cultivate a powerful mindset for success. I'm your host, Julissa Edwards, a mindset coach and advocate for healthy high performance. Join me on this transformative journey as we delve into strategies, insights, and inspiring conversations with experts and thriving high performers. Get ready to master your mindset, elevate your performance, and create a life of purpose and fulfillment. Let's dive in. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Mindset Mastery with Julissa Edwards. Today we have a beautiful interview style episode, and wow, did we touch so many beautiful parts in this one sitting. I get to interview Loni Lebanoff. She is the mastermind creator and visionary behind CogniTutor that was curated in 2015. She has a 3-year background of neuroscience research that heavily impacted the way that she runs her business and how she's had so much success in helping students better their learning, their education, and also learning life skills. It began with a couple of success stories to now she is working with foster youth, special needs students, and all students with tutoring and art to help them learn how to learn, but also working with adults and partnering with businesses to help their employees with professional development and language learning. This woman has built a beautiful monstrous machine that is just impacting so many individuals. And if that wasn't enough, aside from that, she's also a real estate investor. So Loni does it all, and she gives us a beautiful breakdown of what's allowed her to achieve success, maintain her successes, and also gets really vulnerable with us as to what hasn't been easiest for her at this time and how she's navigating that. So I'll say this: if you are a parent, if you are a teacher, if you are a student, you will greatly benefit from this conversation or listening to this conversation. And I'll leave it at that. Without further ado, enjoy this episode. All right, you guys, we have Loni here. I am super excited to talk to you, get to know a little bit more about your business and your inspiration for creating all the beautiful things that you do. How are you feeling today? And are you excited for an open and flowy conversation?
I'm super excited, and honestly, every single day is the best day, because I had been in pain previously, and so now I'm feeling like good and excited to talk.
Okay, good. I'm happy you're no longer in pain.
Yeah, me
Sorry
too.
to hear that. Yeah. So, all right. So a little bit about you. You know, we met on the blocks. You were
Mhm.
such a that's a entrepreneurial competitive TV show that we were both casted on that will air later on this summer, we hope. But when I came across, your branding and you're so well spoken, and I was like, wow, this woman just has truly a bigger mission here, and she's here to help others. So I know a little bit about your background is within tutoring, right?
Mhm.
Neuroscience, and then also we're like mixing in like master of all trades real estate in there too, right? So tell me more about, have you always been passionate about helping others, and what is it exactly that your business CogniTutor does?
Yeah. So CogniTutor helps students. We work mainly with foster and special needs. And
Mhm.
so we help with tutoring, but really the backbone of it is we have mentors for these kids who are giving life skills. And so that
Okay.
means like a tool that's going to help you in life, whether you want to go to college, whether you want to go to trade school or start a business, whatever it is, you have the tools to be able to achieve it.
Okay, wow. So tell me more about where do you find these kids that are in need of help with life skills, with tutoring? Yeah, and where are you located, and yeah, and how do you find them?
Yeah. So I personally am located in Florida. The business is in 21 states. So we
Okay.
partner with either a state, a nonprofit, a school district, a scholarship, a city community center, even like a business. So, really, what we do is we work with organizations that have students, typically with trauma or underserved or at risk. Or with
Mm.
special needs. And so we partner with them because they have the students and they have the funding already. They just need to have really good services.
Okay, so do you partner with social workers?
We do. Yes. Yeah. So,
Okay.
for example, in Florida, they have DCF for foster youth, right? And so they have a specific budget and they've given it to different nonprofits in Florida. And then those nonprofits for their area have to make sure that their students have homes, get therapy, get tutoring,
Mm.
get, all of the services. And so I do partner directly with case managers in
Yeah.
order to talk to them and see, okay, what does your student need? What would help them the most? Yeah.
That's fantastic. So, in the beginning of my journey into psychotherapy, I used to work for a youth runaway shelter.
Hmm.
And I feel like your services would have benefited them greatly. So, it's
Hmm.
amazing to hear that that's what you're doing now, one of the many things that you're doing, because as you know, mental health, living environment, that all plays a major role into how individuals are receiving their education, retaining the education, understanding, having connection with their teachers, community leaders, all of that is so vital. So yeah, so was this always a passion of yours? Were you a tutor? I know you have a neuroscience background, so like, tell me more about that.
Yeah, 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 yeah. So I did not always know what I was passionate about. I had absolutely no clue. When I graduated college, I didn't know what I was going to do. I was doing neuroscience at that time because I was in between, like, do I want to be a doctor? Do I want to, study the brain more? So the neuroscience background that I have was specifically on learning and memory. And I was kind of combining it because I realized, like, I
Mm,
like holistic things. What you were saying, it all interconnects. And so
yeah,
what really bothered me was, like, the body is not just the body and the mind is not just the mind, and emotions, they all connect with each other. And so I think
absolutely.
that I always knew that I cared about holistic things, and I did want to do something that would make a big impact and help a lot of people, but I didn't know what that would be. So really how I got into that is I after college was just having an existential crisis trying to figure out what my life was. And I randomly got a tutoring student. I wasn't even tutoring at the time, but I always knew that I loved learning. I am a lifelong learner and I always want to grow. And it's exciting to me to try to always be better. So I got a student. You're not from Florida.
No, I'm from New York, and my family and I now live in Charlotte, North Carolina.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah.
in Florida, we have our state test in the past. It was called the FCAT. So she had failed the FCAT from third grade all the way to 10th grade. And they
Wow.
just kept pushing her forward. And what that does to somebody is it teaches them, I can't do it. And, it doesn't matter anyway. I'm not going to try. And so that's
Mm-hmm.
kind of like she had that attitude a little bit, but also at the same time, like, you could tell she wanted to do a good job. She wanted to do well in life.
Of
And
course. Who
so
doesn't? Yeah.
everybody does, we're all
Yeah.
trying our best. And so when I got her, I just met her 6 times. The seventh time she came back and told me she had almost gotten a perfect score on that test, which
Wow.
blew my mind because we had never even looked at that test before. So all we did is we worked on skills, reading comprehension, prioritization, things that she would need to achieve well in anything that she did. And she took those things and applied it to that test on her own, and she was able to pass it. She had so much potential and she realized she could do it on her own.
Wow, that's amazing. And so that was fuel of like, wow, this thing that I'm creating is
Yeah.
working, it's impactful, and I want to gift it to other students. Are you a high achieving leader, constantly striving for success, but feeling drained by the weight of responsibility? It's time to hit the reset button on your mind and unlock your full potential. Introducing the Entrepreneur's Mind Reset, a transformational journey designed for CEOs, Type A leaders, and ambitious professionals ready to prioritize their mental and spiritual well-being. Join our exclusive 6-month program where evidence-based therapy meets somatic work and metaphysical techniques. Here, you'll find a tribe of like-minded achievers driven by their passion for success and growth. With personalized one-to-one coaching, group sessions, and ongoing community support, you'll conquer burnout, master your energy, and cultivate a sense of inner peace and abundance. Say yes to yourself and embark on a journey of healing, growth, and success like never before. Visit our website or simply look at the show notes below and reserve your spot today. The Entrepreneur's Mind Reset, because true success starts from within.
Well, what happened afterwards was her school called me and they're like, how did this happen? And
Mm.
exactly what you're saying. That's when like the light bulb went off in my head. I was like, if like I would have thought schools of anybody would be able to get these types of results. I don't have a background in education, really. I don't have
Mhm.
a background in business,
Mm.
but when I heard this, I really realized, okay, we need to attack the actual root cause of the problem, right? And I'm not seeing that happen. I have an obligation to do this. And so it was that month I built a business. I made the website and everything. And they were like, please teach on our campus. And I'm like, you have to hire my company and I will help you. And so through that website, it's the little things that you do, you don't realize, but they add up. So building that website actually is how I got my first foster youth organization reached out to me. They saw what I was about and they were like, please work with us. We need this. And
Mm.
that's when I even realized even more like this is the way that like this is who I want to help, because if you know stats on foster youth, it's really not great. Either when they turn 18, they're kind of like let go by the state and they're like, good luck, and so at
Yeah.
18, either they go to jail or they die. And that's just what the numbers
Wow.
say, and so that means we didn't prepare them in the way
Wow.
we thought we were, and so we need to be able to give them the confidence. We need to let them know and find what it is they want to be doing, to give them a purpose and to know that they can achieve it, and then to give them the tools to actually go and do those things. And so I didn't know it automatically, but it's kind of just like through the consistent work I like learned along the way and kind of just ended up here. I think it was the hard work and just seeing where it was needed.
Okay, so I love this story. I'm gonna backtrack a little bit because I feel that, individuals that, like you said, I think all of us want to do, no, I know all of us want to do well in life.
Hmm.
There
Yeah.
are just blocks at times, and that looks different for everybody. But what I'm hearing from you in terms of you had an existential crisis post college, right? Which I think a lot of us have, right? It's like, well, I just graduated. Now, what am I gonna do? And so, again, I didn't know you earlier years before, but just correct me if I'm hearing this all right. You were probably a good student. You were thinking about getting your doctorate, so you like to be in school and you wanted to help
Hmm.
people in some capacity, right? It was just like, what am I actually going to do with that?
Yes.
Or what am I actually going to do? And then we stumble upon, research of, you said memory and
Learning.
retention. Learning,
Hmm.
learning, which I think is so fascinating. Like just studying that within itself can just open the doors for creativity and ideas for like so many things
Hmm.
in life, but you specifically took it to tutoring and helping children, helping students,
Hmm.
right? And so what I'm trying to recap here is that you had no idea where the end goal was going to take you, but what I'm really passionate about helping entrepreneurs with too, and or like leaders, community leaders, is that you don't always have to know all the pieces.
No.
You just have to be passionate about something, right? This overarching goal of yours, like, I just want to help people. And like, listen, when people tell me that, when they're like trying to figure out what they want to do in business or what they want to do with their life, like that's so broad. And it is like, how? how do you want to help people, you know? But for you, I think this worked out very well for you because you at least had the connection of like, I want to help people and I'm good in science. I'm a good
Mhm.
student. I'm a good learner,
Mhm.
right? I have the ability to go into higher ed if I wanted to, right? Or continue my higher education if I wanted to. So you're like taking all of your skill sets holistically as a person and then organically just being like, hey, what do I bring to the table and how can I help others? And then all of this kind of just opened up for you. Would you
Mhm.
agree with that?
I would. And that's something too that so we built a learn to learn program that actually helps with that. Because what you're saying is everyone wants to do well and they want to contribute. They're just not necessarily sure how. And so
Yeah.
it's a matter of figuring out, well, what do you care about? And what are you good at? You can always build
Mm.
strengths, but if you take something, that you're a natural at, it's just so much easier
Easier.
get
Yes.
started there, and so I would.
Okay.
Mhm.
So I missed that part. So you're also helping these students find what their passions are, find what they're good at, alongside tutoring to hopefully help that gap of like now you're 18, you don't really have help from the state, but at least you have a sense of identity,
Yes.
passion, excitement as to what you want to do with your life.
Confidence. Yeah.
Wow, that's beautiful.
Because what happens is, like we come in as tutors because there is a need right now, right?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, they aren't going to class or they're not passing this class or they need to pass this test, something. Right? So we're coming in with that immediate help. But along the way with the tutoring, they're going through our learn to learn program, which the very first step is if kids don't care, are they going to do it? Right? So we need to get them
Mm,
engaged in that first
I
session. So the
love that.
first session is really, who are you? What do you care about? What do you want? I'm going to help you get there. And so
Yeah.
it's the student being like, "Oh, wait, you care about me and like what I want to do? Like I get it what we're going to do?"
Mm,
And so we start there and we get them engaged. And then we build those basic fundamental skills that they need, like time management, right? Emotional regulation. Like, what are you good at or what do you like to do? And so we slowly build that foundation for them as they're
mm.
class or that test, so that by the end of that class or test, the goal is they don't need us anymore because we've helped them build those habits and skills along the way. And so
I
now they have
love that.
action.
Wow, what an impactful business that you are running. What's the age group? Like, how early do you take kiddos for tutoring, and then I guess, up until 18?
We've worked with all ages. I'm going to say our main ages are K through 12,
Okay.
but we also just partnered with an international business that wants help with their employees. And so, really, when
Mm,
I had this vision, it was not always for just kids, right? I think that kids are our future. I think education touches on everything. So, it
sure,
is like the most important and closest to my heart. And also, people never stop learning, right? Employees, people in their careers,
sure.
also need emotional regulation, confidence, engagement,
It's what I do. Yes, yes. It's so
all of
important.
these things.
Yeah.
So mainly K through 12, but I've worked with a 70-year-old, I've worked with 3-year-olds. So we've worked with
Mm,
everybody.
okay, beautiful. So you're in 21 states. I assume you have a team of people doing what you do in your
Mhm,
company.
mhm.
Yeah, and so now how are you teaching them what you've learned about neuroscience and all of that, or are they going through schooling to then work for your company?
Good question. Yeah. So, when I realized this was a need, I immediately started looking at, okay, do people sell programs or teach other people how to learn? And so I like looked around, it wasn't that easy to find. And so what I did is I did find one way to find the top researchers in the world for learn to learn. And so Dr. Hattie and Barbara were two people that I reached out to really kind of talk to them about like, hey, what is the latest research on this? Because everything that we do is backed by science and evidence.
Mm,
And so I really dug deep into the research and what's already been done, what's been proven to work, and kind of took also from my personal experiences too, and built out that program and just got tutoring started, right? And so, your original question, though, you were asking, what was the original question? Because this was all
That's
leading.
okay. Yeah, that's okay. My brain does that too. So I had asked, yeah, when you're hiring individuals into your company to tutor,
Oh, yeah.
are they learning off of something that you've curated, now you're teaching others, or do they have to have specific education and qualifications before, working for your company?
Okay, yeah. So for leadership, are you talking about tutors? Leadership,
Yes, let's
right?
do both. We'll do both.
Both? Okay, so let's
Yeah.
talk about leadership first. So our leadership, a lot of us actually come from an education background. We have people with their PhDs in education, their masters in education, MBAs. We have like very educated people on our team, and a lot of them have been teachers or run schools before. And the reason they come to us to work with us is because they can see we are working on the actual problem. We're not just
Yeah.
putting Band-Aid on it and saying, oh, it's fixed by,
Mm.
we're really like getting down deep, and it fixes this problem, but it fixes multiple problems across someone's life that you wouldn't even be able to see, beforehand. And so, so they come to us because, the politics or other things in the school system, and they really want to be able to help kids in this specific way.
Yeah.
So they do go through a training with us, but they don't need like a specific education. Really, what I'm looking for in my leadership is, are they passionate? Are they going to care about this? Because we can't be doing this without people who don't care. And number
Yeah.
two, are you coachable? Right? Like if somebody wants to learn and they're willing to learn, then they can do anything. They have no ceiling, right? So
Mm.
the faster you can learn and be better, the faster you can grow. And I can talk all day about like how amazing my team is, but people, my upper leadership has gone from working as a tutor for 1 hour a week to within 2 weeks being upper leadership. And it's that quickly where you can see and even build a position for somebody. It's like we want A players on our team to really make an impact on the world. And so as soon as we see that, we make it happen with them. So that's the leadership side. On the tutor side, we again, they have to have base knowledge on things, right? They need to have people skills. They need to really care about students.
Sure.
And so those are the things that we really filter out for. And then we have an interview with them. And then after that, they do have training and resources that kind of teach them a little bit more to be trauma informed. And then
Mm.
also to just understand our methods and how we reach students. And then we give them the curriculum for Learn to Learn so they
Okay.
can get through it with the students.
Okay, beautiful. Wow, this is so organized and well thought out. I wanted to chime in. Like, I know when you're talking about the passion in your leadership team, I used to work in a middle school for some time and I was a therapist on site. And so I got to learn so much about like school politics and just like it's so messy. It's a huge structure and like you really get to see like why things are the way they are systematically. And so I would imagine that the people that are coming to work for you maybe have been educators for some time and like they went into the field for great reasons and
Mhm.
just got burnt out because of the things that they were not able to do or effectively have with their students, their children. So I I'm thinking like I don't know if you've thought about this, but you sound like you're building a school. You sound like you're building something that it's changing the way that we cater to our children, our students, for them to be more invested, for them to feel like they're being cared for,
Mhm.
in this mini ecosystem that you have. But it's like, wow, if schools are reaching out to you and they're contracting you for your services, it's like, yeah, it's only a matter of time until this gets, I mean, you already have a large team,
Mhm.
until this is something of like structure for maybe schools all around the country to start implementing to better their retention, and just like the overall well-being of the child in the school.
Yeah, that is a school is, somewhere in the goals along the way.
It
So that
sounds like
is
you're, go
true.
ahead, girl. Yeah, it sounds like you're kind of getting there, but yeah.
And so we really like my goal has always been like help people learn to learn and be independent. And so in whatever format that is, that we can get it out there the easiest and best way to give really good services to students and people, that's what I'm aiming for. I don't necessarily care how. I am formulating that vision now. Like this is a very pivotal time in our business. Um,
Mm,
and so it is extremely important that our strategy is on point, because for us to take a direction and it to not work, that's a lot of turn around, turn the ship this way and do that instead. And so I'm
yeah.
focused very, very heavily on like what is the best way for us to grow to be able to help more students. And so yeah, school is a potential. We are looking at working even more with the government.
Yeah.
But overall, I would love to make education focus on the right thing, right? That really, really does prepare kids for the future and sets them up in the best way possible.
Yeah. Okay. So wonderful. I have so many like follow up questions because I think you're a prime example of. So we began the conversation with like you didn't know what you were going to do. You followed by passion, your strong suits, what you're good at, and then kind of combining that all naturally. As an entrepreneur, and hopefully you can share some points in your journey where it's been difficult, which I'm sure there's been many. Now you're managing a lot. It's people will go into their missions in life, let's say business, leadership in some capacity, hopefully with a greater goal in mind,
Mhm.
right? That's going to help keep us on track when things get rough and rocky, right? And also, like, there's a lot of self identity that a leader will go through as they're pivoting in different chapters of whatever it is that they're leading or organizing, right?
Yes.
Like we have for me, like timeline wise, like when you first begin something, like you're so beautifully enwrenched in it, like it's like everything for you and you're so passionate about it. It's like it's literally who you are. And like you need that because in the beginning it is a one-man show, and you're kind of doing everything by yourself. And then as you go on further, you have maybe some team members, you have some more guidance, you're contract with other organizations to help, fuel this bigger mission in mind. And then it kind of becomes this thing. I relate it to like a baby, right? It's like it was a baby fully latched onto you, like needed to breastfeed, all of that, and then it's like, okay, now they're kind of walking, they're kind of having their own sense of identity. They're kind of blossoming into this thing that, like, I didn't really intend for that to happen, but I'm really happy with this, right? And so you go from being super attached to now being the overseer to some capacity of like many different legs of your business functioning and running, and so energy. I'm really big on energy. And, in order for us to lead a good ship, we have to manage our energy really, really well, right?
Yes.
Because that step from like, this is all me to then like, hey, I'm overseeing this. It's a beautiful place to be. Um, and then you come with other difficult moments because you are overseeing many different things, right? So two questions here, and I'll repeat them again if we get lost because I'm sure they're like deep dive like answers. So, two questions here are what have been some of those difficult moments for you?
Mhm.
Um, and how has anchoring in on this deeper reasoning why you're doing this, how has that helped you in those difficult moments?
Yeah. Okay, good question. So I'm gonna say it's not easy. This is literally the hardest thing I've ever done in my life.
Okay,
And
thank you for your honesty. Yeah,
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 I am an overachiever. I do want to do well, just as everyone else does. And
yeah.
with this, I have felt very often that I'm, like I'm going too slow. How am I doing? Like how like am I not smart enough? Things like that. And so what I would say the biggest things were like it's thoughts like that, but also not knowing where to go. At the very beginning, it's like you could do so many things and it's like overwhelming. because you don't know which direction do we go. And there's so many things to do. What do I spend my time doing? It's almost like every single day I had to re-strategize what I was doing because I got new information every single day. And
Mm.
so that was really difficult for me at the beginning. At the beginning, I really wanted to have a team because I just felt like, oh man, I don't know if I can do this on my own. And I would say that all along the way have been so many great steps of learning. And it's been personal, it's been professional. And I've noticed that what you said about energy is so, so true, because you are here and everybody looks to you. And in my mind,
Yeah.
I was not like, there was a point where one of my directors said to me, you like, you scare people when you randomly ask about this thing, and I'm like, oh, why? Like, I'm just asking this thing, but people take your position
Oh, very seriously.
to
Yeah.
mean something, and it's like,
Mm.
and so recognizing how other people see you too was kind of like a learning thing.
Mm.
And I had to realize that people are looking to me and I need to show them this is why we're doing this and we are all aligned and we can only get there because we are a team. I've learned to
Mm.
encourage people and to see them and really to hear them. And so my
Mm.
focus, I meet with every single person on my team, all of my leadership, you know, um, I used to do it once a month. I just recently, because I am pulling myself out of the day to day a little bit more now, kind of like what you're saying. It's a baby that's growing up a little bit more. And for that, I am needed here for strategy, for
Yep.
culture, for picking the A players, for finding
Yep.
good strategic relationships and partners. And so those are my roles now. It's not these other things anymore, but I still meet with every single person on my team once a quarter because I need to feel the lifeline of the business. I need to see the actual services and what we're doing because I can't make strategic decisions without knowing what's actually going on and getting at, and so I learned to hear my team members in what is their actual motivation and like let's get them to that goal that they're trying for, right? I've
Mm.
also learned to
Same
let them.
thing you're doing for those students, just mirroring there for you, which is beautiful. You're
Yes,
helping your team have identity and a bigger purpose in this mission of carrying your business forward. That's beautiful. Yeah.
exactly. And it's, and I tell them too, like this was always for the kids and the
Yeah.
students. And also I did this for the team. I don't forget, and I'm like literally gonna cry. Um,
Aw,
I don't forget, please don't think I'm crazy. I promise.
not at all.
But I don't forget my team because they trusted me. They trusted each other and themselves and the team in order to go for this crazy mission that will make a big impact, and because they're loyal to me, I'm also going to be loyal back to
Of
them. And
course.
so the number one priority is the students. And then after that, it is the company overall because it feeds all of us, right? And then
Yeah.
after I make sure that the company is strong, I'm making sure I'm taking care of my team. So,
Oh, I love that. It is not like, don't be ashamed at all. I think this is just showing us how much you care and how passionate you are about multiple things. This is a beautiful engine that's running and everybody matters.
mhm. Yeah. And I like to let them know because, as a team, it can be easy to forget what the mission is when you're sitting looking at numbers all day long, right? And
Yeah.
in every single one of those meetings, I remind them that I see you, I see what you did with this, and I'm very specific about the things that I see them do. And I let them know, don't forget, you are saving lives every single day. Just because you see the numbers, it's because you're doing this thing that's actually contributing to the overall engine, as you said, that's making it all work. And
Mhm.
so I remind them that because if we're going to spend 8 hours a day working, why wouldn't we do something that we care about,
Yeah.
that is meaningful? And so
Yeah.
business has been hard in that it's been an emotional journey, right? I'm not an emotional person. I'm really not, which is why like people who know me would look at this and be like, wow, Lonnie's crying, but it's because it matters so much. And so even for someone who, is not
Hmm.
so easily like brought to tears, it is a journey that does this, that is
Oh my
very
God,
difficult to
yes.
navigate. And it is the passion that has moved me forward, and it's understanding that everything is difficult, right? And you have to just be consistent. That's probably one of the number one things that I would say is to my team, to my students, to anyone doing anything that is worth doing. It will be hard. And what will be the difference between you succeeding and you not is whether or not you kept putting in the hard work consistently. And that's the
Hmm.
difference. You don't need to be smart. Our students don't need to be smart. They don't need to anything else except try hard.
Hmm.
That's the number one thing I would say.
Wow. Well, I hope, Lynn, I hope our editor taglines that part for a beautiful preview of this whole conversation that you don't have to be anything except be consistent.
Mhm.
What a beautiful message. And I love that you're crying. I do. I love that you're crying and getting emotional. I don't know you personally. I'm getting to know you now, and I feel very happy and blessed to be able to do that. Um, I'll say from the outside looking in, you very much look like a well put together, polished woman who is educated and knows her things. And again, this is my first time learning more about deeper of your story and your background. And I know without a shadow of doubt that if people see more of your vulnerability, there's a grander connection there. When people see someone that's like perfect, it's like, wow, like, yes, inspiring, empowering, all the things. But it's like, if I know that she's real and that she cares so much and like, yeah, a little bit of her heart on her sleeve, I want to work for you. I want to help bring your mission to more reach and greater impact. And I'm sure that's why your team probably loves you because they're seeing that version of you, even in leadership. And so you're still the executive and all the things, but yeah, girl, I would it from your comment, it seems like you're not someone that shows their emotions a lot, and so this is uncomfortable for you, but I would highly encourage you to do more of that. Kind of like years of pent up feelings that you've always felt finally having a chance to be released. Okay, beautiful responses to those two questions. Um, I think it's a good segue now. We're already in the touchy feely of things, and that's my jam. Can we share something that's happening right now in your interpersonal life, business? For me, they're one and the same. I think business has been a huge mirror for me, a huge growth, learning experience. I also relate a lot of my leadership qualities in motherhood. Like for me, I think everything in life has so many similarities. Just a matter of like
Yes.
how are you living it? How are you moving through all the things? And so, yeah, like what's something right now that has been causing you some hardships that you're trying to overcome? And yeah, I'd love to hear from you anything of that sort.
Yeah. I totally agree with what you're saying. Like we keep saying, it is all interconnected, and it's amazing because uh motherhood, I'm not a mother, but I hear it from my team members of like motherhood,
Hmm.
personal life, business. It all affects each other. The things that they're learning in business as
Oh
they're
my God.
becoming leaders
Yep.
affect how they mother, and vice versa. And
I
so
love that you're gaining that insight. That is literally what the second leg of my business is about. I'm training mothers to be leaders because they are.
yes, they are. They already are. It's just a framework, a mindset, shift where you can see that, and then you utilize it, and it's like a superpower.
A game
And
changer. Complete. It goes from like utter chaos to like, no, I run this ship and I know what I'm doing and I have effective
yes.
skills and tools to help all of us be on the same page.
Yes, exactly. And so I would say that I love that you do that, and most of our team really is made up of women. A lot of them
Mm-hmm.
are mothers, and they are so good at what they do,
I
you know?
bet.
And so what I've been going through recently, you know, throughout all of business, like I could take you every single year through business and like the lessons that I've learned that have affect me personally and also me business wise. It's like mind blowing. But what
Mm-hmm.
I am most focused on now, some hardships that I have now, number one would be the strategy, like what I was saying earlier. Because it is such a big deal. This is a pivotal point of where growth does this, we are right here. So it is,
Mm-hmm.
and you have to make sure everything is like not perfect. You cannot be perfect. I'd rather take action than be perfect, right? But I'm trying to get it as good as it possibly can by thinking out all the different possibilities, by talking to all the different people in education, but outside of education too, because you can learn from different industries too.
Absolutely.
So strategy, it like keeps me up at night. You know, it's all I talk about, all I think about all the time.
Okay.
So that's one. The second thing is my health. So I have an autoimmune disorder that is
Oh,
extremely rare, that pretty much makes me allergic to everything. And so if I eat or drink, it hurts. If I
oh,
don't eat or drink,
wow.
it hurts. And so I've been in and out of the hospital. It is difficult to continue to run such a big operation when you don't feel good all the time.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Those are the two things that I've really been trying to make it through. Um, I would say that boundaries is super huge, right? You have to recognize that if you cannot make it sustainable, right? Because you can't burn yourself out constantly. So if it is not sustainable, it is not right. And so you have to have those
Mm,
boundaries to make sure that you can keep going at this level,
absolutely.
and then the business can keep going, because if you are done, the business is done.
Are you a high achieving leader, constantly striving for success but feeling drained by the weight of responsibility? It's time to hit the reset button on your mind and unlock your full potential. Introducing the Entrepreneur's Mind Reset, a transformational journey designed for CEOs, Type A leaders, and ambitious professionals ready to prioritize their mental and spiritual well being. Join our exclusive 6-month program where evidence based therapy meets somatic work and metaphysical techniques. Here, you'll find a tribe of like minded achievers driven by their passion for success and growth. With personalized one-to-one coaching, group sessions, and ongoing community support, you'll conquer burnout, master your energy, and cultivate a sense of inner peace and abundance. Say yes to yourself and embark on a journey of healing, growth, and success like never before. Visit our website or simply look at the show notes below and reserve your spot today. The Entrepreneur's Mind Reset, because true success starts from within.
Thank you for sharing. So now I have more insight as to why we began the convo with like, I've been in some pain. Yeah. So are you familiar with like feminine and masculine energies, specifically in the realm of like business?
I have not heard about it so much, so I'd love for you to tell me more. I feel like in the positions I've always been in, it's probably been a lot more masculine
Super
energy.
masculine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So I'll do a brief overview. I love talking about this. So feminine energy, I'm gonna call them like he and her, but it's not sex based at all. It's just easier to frame it that way.
Mhm.
All humans have both energies, feminine and masculine, and so there's like 4 quadrants, if you may. It's like, what is a feminine, what is a masculine, and what is a healed feminine, a healed masculine, and then a wounded feminine and a wounded masculine,
Mhm.
right? And so when we think about the feminine divine energy, it's just all encompassing. It's very nurturing. It's very warm. It is based off of intuition, and it's very flowy and ease, and most importantly, abundant.
Mhm.
Divine feminine energy is you don't the belief and the embodiment that you don't have to do anything to receive. Masculine energy, also very important, is the leader, the worker, the visionary. They are the ones that are able to get one, two, threes in order to execute X plan. They keep the family safe. Like all of that is very, very important. And we need both to survive, right? When we talk about the wounded feminine, it's for lack of better words, it's kind of like this woe is me energy, because there is belief that we don't have to do anything for things to come to us. Then we take it to the extreme and like we literally don't do anything, right? And we just
Mhm.
expect things to come to us. And so when things
Mhm.
go wrong, it's like, well, what's happening? Why is this wrong? It's like we're not like, you're not acting in aligned energy, right? And then the wounded masculine is you can see a lot of anger there. Anxiety can pop up there too, but in the form of force, right? So if it's when a leader is worrisome about things not happening in the right way, and so now they're forcing things to happen, and it ends up hurting people or environments or situations or anything of that sort. And so what we're looking for is a holistic balance of what this could look like for any individual, business or not, but especially in leadership, right? And so Western society, me too, girl, like we were so bred to be
Mhm.
super effing masculine,
Mhm.
right? And listen, I never fault it, because had it not been for my super masculine ways, I would have never gotten to where I am in life now.
I love it. Tell me
You
about it.
know? And also
Mhm.
like there's so many, like again, we need both. There's so many positives. I think in my own journey of healing and leadership and just, being an entrepreneur, um for me there's been like a swaying of back and forth like a pendulum,
Mhm.
where I was super in my masculine, beginning. Then I had a beautiful business spiritual mentor who taught me all about the divine feminine, and like I was
Mhm.
so heavy in the masculine, my pendulum swung so left that I was too woo for a little bit of my time, too like in the no, there was like no structure, and things were still working out for me via business, but like it was very chaotic.
I see.
There was a lack of structure, like all the things. And so then, in my later years, I learned how to like dip into both and have a
Mhm.
balance of both.
Yeah.
Right. And so, what I'm seeing for you, girly, someone's super in their masculine, and I commend it. You have a fucking powerhouse of a company and you're doing amazing things. Your feminine is there. You care. You cried, right? Like you care. It's there. You see, you have a heart to heart connection. What I'm seeing coming up for you now is your body is speaking to you, and you know this, right? Like
Mhm.
your mind and the body are connected. And so all of these years of like go, 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 going, it seems like your body's
Mhm.
kind of breaking down right now.
Yeah, it is. It is. And so there are two things I want to mention to that. Uh, so yeah, I did say no to my body for a long time. Oh, you need to eat, you need to drink. Like I would go until 5 p.m. and realize I hadn't eaten or drank anything. I worked 16-hour days. I would like to work until 7 in the morning because nobody bothered me or talked to me in the hours of 10 p.m. and 7 a.m. And it was like,
Yeah.
perfect. I can like get all of this out and like done. And it was amazing. But, after a while, I realized I can't even hear my body anymore, or like I
Mhm.
ignored it so much. Like, yeah, I didn't know when I had to go to the bathroom anymore. I didn't realize that I was
Mm.
hungry anymore. But also at the
Wow.
same time, my body broke down at such a level where it was like, you cannot abuse it anymore. It's like, it is like after the blocks, I was literally bedridden for 3
Oh,
days.
me too,
Right?
girly. Not for your reasons, I'm sure, but I was done
Yeah.
after
Yeah.
that filming. Yeah, yeah.
Normally I can go without sleep, and like it was fine. But like here, it was like I could not get out of bed to get water. And like I was
Mm.
constant pain, so much pain. And so it was really like, okay, I need to prioritize my body now. And I have to like work between these times. I need to have meaningful relationships. I need to eat on time and make sure that I preach this to my team, but I just never actually did it myself. And so it is important to do. the second thing that I'm kind of like thinking of when you talk about femininity and masculinity, and also problems, like the third problem that I would say that I've had has been, okay, well, if I have neglected all other aspects of my life, that also includes like my personal life, right? And so I'm looking at it, I'm kind of just like, okay, well, masculine, feminine, like what I would want in a husband is somebody that I respect,
Yep.
that is very capable. And I've just started networking, and it's mainly guys that I see. And what they tell me is it's going to be hard for you to find a guy that's more successful than you are. And so that's interesting.
I pushed that away, but keep going.
Yes,
Yeah.
I also push that away,
Yeah.
but it's
Yeah.
interesting, like the things that, I'm hearing, because now I am trying to focus on other aspects of my life. I'm kind of
Sure.
thinking, okay, well, what's going on? Like, how am I showing up masculine, feminine? And like,
Yeah.
what is it that I'm looking for, masculine, feminine? And so, that's like,
Mm,
to be real, those are like the main
yeah.
priorities in my life right now.
I love that. So I'm hearing, right, on a health holistic side of things, and this is only going to help you be a better leader. Like, I think what sometimes people don't understand, and I think probably we logically understand, but like we don't do it, we don't embody it, is like when you take care of yourself, everything else flourishes.
Mhm.
Like when you take a break and you rest and you heal and you do the inner work, and that's my specialty, right? Of like, especially for so similar to kind of what you how you experienced your like trajectory of doing different things. Like, I began this world, I wanted to help people, super broad, I want to help people, right? So I became a therapist.
Yeah.
And then that led me into higher ed kind. I went into a school, and then I ended up becoming a professor myself, and I kind of learned different things of how all that works. And long story short, what I do now, when I thought about owning a private practice, when I first began as a therapist, it was because I thought logically, numbers wise. I'm like,
Mm.
okay, a therapist sees about 30 to 40 patients a week, which is a lot, and that's the norm for therapists. But I was like, and that's fantastic, but I'd only be touching 40 people a week.
Mhm.
Right. And so, as a leader that I am, I was like, how can I impact more lives? Right. And
Yes.
so, okay, if I became a head of a practice, and I would have 5 therapists underneath me, and I'd be able to have my hand in their successes and help more people, right? That's how leaders think. Like, how can we have a greater impact,
Mhm.
right? And so now what the one leg of my business is helping, entrepreneurs have balance, because it not only affects them, but it affects everybody in their ecosystem.
Yep.
Right. And so I know, like, logically we all understand that, but it's like, who's actually embodying that? Right. Who's actually showing us how to have balance, how to have great leadership skills by putting ourselves first, so everybody can flourish from this beautiful energy that we're gifting others, because we're taking good care of ourselves. So what I see for you, girly, which I'm super excited about, is you're looking into like love life partnership, right,
Mhm.
into who you want as a husband, and that's making you have greater introspect into yourself of like,
Mhm.
well, what am I showing and what am I potentially attracting because of where my energies are. Also, we're taking care of our body because it's in high need of that. And you're in this season, I heard, of like you're mastering even more. What did you say it was? I'm forgetting the word that you use, but strategic planning.
Alliances. Oh, yeah, and
Right. To make sure that you're gonna continue the up level of your company.
Mhm.
The only thing that I would, gift you, if you'll take it, this insight is learn to believe that the strategic planning that you're doing needs to not look like what it's looked like in the past. A little bit more easier, more flowy, have answers come to you than you working so hard for the answer, like staying up all
Mhm.
night. Like, those are old habits that are like dying hard, right? And so, like, what if we lived a life where you had like immense visionary and planning, and beautiful things came together without you having to be the one to push it all by yourself and think about and being the creator of all the things, right? And so I hope that lands well for you.
Well, can I like talk about how
Yeah.
I interpret that?
Yeah.
So I completely agree with you. Like where I am now, sometimes there are moments where I'm like, man, I really did this the hardest, slowest way I possibly could have, right? But I think that there was a time and place, and I learned all of the lessons that I needed to learn along the way. And I think it
Yeah.
made me better for it, having gone through the trenches the way
Oh,
that
for
I did.
sure.
And now where I am is I end up at conferences with people within the same industry, but also outside of the industry. And I see what things like I'm watching, I'm like learning now. It's fun because I'm less of the doing because my team is amazing and I've given them, all the information that they need, and I've empowered them to, you take it and you go, girl, you run it, and you like make this what you want, the mission, and you have everything. So they're doing that, and now I can put the mental energy, like I can slow things down and I
Perfect.
can just watch and I can see what is working for other people. What are they doing? And I'm
Mm.
finding myself in these conversations with these people where it's like, you never would imagine it going this way, but I have
Mm.
met, people who have made movies specifically about, students at risk. And
Mm.
um,
Cool.
and it is like an easier just coming to me, just happening. And I'm not coming with the goals. I'm not saying I need to talk to this person about this thing and I need to get them to work with me. It's like it's just
Yeah.
happening organically, and it's like
Beautiful.
I know that through this it's going to make even bigger waves
Yeah.
than before. And so
Mhm.
that's how I interpret what you're saying is like
Absolutely.
I'm pulling back and I'm learning and I'm just seeing what can happen. I'm very open, and
Hmm.
it's blowing my mind how I can see the exponential growth that will happen because of this.
Yeah, yeah. I'm thinking like a whole new world, just a whole, yeah, because like, yeah, it's like literally, it's like, wow, this whole time I've been beating myself up where I think life is forcing you to slow down via your physical body. And it's also teaching you like I can have even greater impact in this new role, new energy role that I am optimizing in my body at this time.
Mhm. It's still a struggle because at these conferences, you just find yourself still like talking to people until 7 in the morning, and then like, oh, wait, well, it's the next
Mm,
day and it's still the conference. I guess we might as well go talk more. So it's still
mm,
difficult, but you still need to have those boundaries. So it's almost like keep the lessons that you've learned, do the new things too, but like keep the boundaries, Lonnie.
yeah. Yeah, we'll end it with this. Is I love that the quote, no matter where you go, there you are, right? And it's just a matter of like my old shit, for lack of better words, will continue to follow me until I eradicate it, until I really heal it. And until then, you're not doing anything wrong. It's just a part of the journey and you're learning. So yeah. Thank you so much, Lonnie. This was a beautiful conversation. Um, I'm like, usually I ask people like, how can they find you and what answer that? But like for you, it's so multifaceted. Like I'm thinking if you're a listener and you have a kid who is struggling, hit up Lonnie. If
Mhm.
you are a teacher who's burnt out, hit up Lonnie,
Mhm.
right? Like you provide so much help in different areas. And I think that's so beautiful. So how can they find you? And of course, everything will be listed in our show notes, but so they can hear it. What is
Mhm.
the easiest way for them to get in contact with you?
Yeah, so they can always go to our website, www.cognitutor.com, CogniTutor. They can also find us on Instagram if they just look up CogniTutor. And then they can find me on Instagram if they want. It's just my name, Loni, Loni _ Pops, Pops. So Loni Pops.
Beautiful. Thank you so, so much, girly. This was a pleasure to have so many gems, so much insight. You are a true leader in your industry, and I cannot wait to see what further impact you have on your community.
Amazing. Thank you for having me. I love what you do. I love what you stand for. And so let's just keep changing those lives that will continue to change other lives.
Absolutely.
Thank you for tuning into Mindset Mastery with Julissa Edwards. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to subscribe to the podcast to receive future episodes packed with valuable insights. Remember to follow us on social media at thehealthy.highperformer for more inspiration, tips, and updates. If you found this episode helpful, we'd appreciate it if you could share it with your network and leave a review on your favorite podcast platform. Your support means the world to us as we continue to empower high performers like you. Until next time, keep mastering your mindset and thriving as a healthy high performer.